Hi, this is Heath again with another Coldesi repair video for the DTG Viper. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be removing the blue cover from the machine, so that way we can get to a number of different components that require that. So the first thing we're going to do before we get started is we need to lower our bed down to its lowest position. So we'll hold the down arrow until it won't go any further. Once that is down, I'm going to power the machine off. Once the power has gone off here, the green light will go blank. Then I can come around to the back of the machine and I can turn the main power off next to the power plug and then remove the power cord. We don't want any power going to the machine just in case something drops. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start removing the cover screws. The first set will be over here on the left side of the printer. There'll be 4 of them. Right there. It's a 2mm Phillips head screw. Alright. As we have those 4 screws removed, we can remove our waste compartment door and we can set those to the side. Next, we will take our white ink management system, take it off of its holder. Make sure to pull the tubing out of its little clip here, and then we can set it over here on the back of the machine, like so. Then we'll come around to the front of the machine, and we'll remove the 4 screws that hold the control panel, because there is wiring going to the back of it. If we did not remove these and tried to take the blue cover off, it would rip those wiring out. On the opposite side as well. Once you have those 4 screws removed, you can lightly pull it out, but don't pull it out too far because of all the wiring that's connected to the back of it. What I'll do with it is turn it sideways and slide it down into the hole. So that way it tucks it out of the way. We're also going to remove the inner paneling screws on both left and right sides. We'll remove these 2 first. Being careful not to drop them down into the frame. If you do happen to drop the screws down in the frame, you can go get a telescopic magnetic tool from like Walmart or some other store, and then you can fish those out. Then we'll come over here. We are going to reach in and you will see the emergency stop wire. You'll have to go down inside the machine here and kind of fish these wires out so that way you can undo its connector. The connectors might be different on different generation machines, but it's the same premise of removing it. Alright, next we have 2 more of the cover screws on the right side of the machine. Once we have that removed, then we'll come to the back. We'll take our CMYK inks, take it off its holder, and set it to the side as well. Alright. Now when I first started this video, you noticed that I lowered the bed all the way down. If I would not have done that, then I could not access these two screws. This one and the one over here on the side. So we are going to be removing these screws and being real careful not to drop it down into the frame. And then the one up at top as well. Once that panel drops down, I'll reach from both the front and back of the machine, lifting it up and folding it in. And we will do the same thing on the opposite side. Okay. So now that we have all our frame screws removed, it is a good idea to have two people do it, but if you're strong and you want to take it into your own behalf, you can grab it directly from the middle and lift straight up. We're going to be putting the blue cover back onto the DTG Viper. We have taken it off earlier, but it is also a good idea to know how to put it back on properly, because you can damage some things if you don't do it correctly. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is make sure there's no power to the machine or anything like that. The emergency stop would have been disconnected, so it's like a circuit breaker anyway. Okay, so what we're going to do is grab the blue cover. It definitely makes this a lot easier if you have two people to make it line up, but if you've done it enough times, then it's pretty easy. So when I'm placing this down, I make sure that it's not snagging any wires, making sure it's not hitting any of my sensors. And I place it straight down, gently. Okay. So now I walk around the machine making sure that nothing's snagged or anything like that. Now I'll grab my screws and start putting them back into the frames. The screws that we'll use for the frames have like a round dome to them, okay? And there's only 6 of them. 4 on one side and 2 on the other. So what I'll need to do is kind of push the cover up so that way my screw holes line up properly. So I can push it from the bottom. Once I get it lined up and kind of square centered into the hole, then I can screw them in. Do the second one on this side. There we go. And while I'm on this side, I'm going to go ahead and reconnect my emergency stop button. To do so, I'll raise this up, grab the e-stop wire that'll be attached to this front frame of the system, straight down, and then I'll have to kind of feed my hand down in to grab the other end, and then reconnect them. Alright. You'll hear the machine kick back on, but hopefully the power has been turned off from the control panel. I'll grab my other 4 frame screws, ones with the round domed heads. Come back over to this side and do the same thing. Push up on the frame or pull back on it to make sure that the holes line up, and tighten them down. Sometimes loosening one of them so that way you can make sure the other screws are line up. And last but not least, and then once I'm done getting this 4th screw in, I'll go back and tighten all the rest of them up. Okay, so now we're going to put the control panel back onto the front cover of the machine. We had it tucked down in here, so that way it was out of the way, and that way it didn't rip the wires off. So it just kind of lays right up here on its bracket, and then we'll put 4 of the small screws in. It'll look like this. You have to kind of pick up on it a little bit, make sure the holes line up. Okay, almost done. So now the last thing that we have to put back on the machine are those 2 interior panels that go down the inside of the print area. Okay? The angled edge will go towards the front of the machine. It doesn't matter which side it is. What the purpose of these are is to help frame it up, so that way there's no flex or shifting while it's printing. So what I like to do when I do this is I'll slide it in, tilt it over, and I'll line up that first hole to get it started. Be really careful not to drop these screws down inside the machine. Try not to cross thread it as well. So I'm not going to tighten this one completely down, so that way I can still pivot it. I'll also reach down in here into the print area, so that way I can lift up on the panel to line up the second hole. And put in its screw. Also not tightening this one all the way either. Then I'll go to the back of the machine. And put in the 2 screws back here. I will have to lower this platen back down, or the entire bed back down, so that way I can get to the bottom screws. And I'll just hold the down button on the control panel. Once I have enough space, take my magnetic screwdriver, line up these holes. Sometimes you'll have to push this frame in to get it to line up. Once I have it tightened down, make sure the other screws are tightened as well. This one actually looks a little cross-threaded, so I'll back it out a little bit. And then get it to go in smoothly. Okay. And then tighten up the 2 front screws as well. And you will do this on both sides of the machine. Then, once you have all your screws tight, you're ready to get to work again. Power the machine up as normal. And that's replacing the blue cover of the DTG Viper. Thanks again. And if you need any help, please just go to support@coldesi.com or call into our 800 number. Thank you.